Hey, okay, we're good. We're good. What's good? What's poppin'? Howdy, ladies and gentlemen, G's and P's, squares, and those who dare, ladies of the night, and freaks that like to bite. I am Tiger. This is Tiger Thinks. Welcome to Tiger Thinks. As I said it, my name a bunch of times. I'm gonna say it again. Anyway, we're gonna have a quick debacle here. I have some really great, phenomenal, sensational, indubitably sensational. I'm going to be very repetitive tonight. I'm going to have a lot of content coming this week. And right now, I'm feeling about an 8 out of 10. And I was going to do one of those streams tonight, but I'm going to bring it to you guys when I'm a 9 or a 10 out of 10. So without further delay, let's get into the hay. Today, we are overviewing, breaking down, and analyzing the critical race theory conversation that Nicke Fuentes had on Fresh and Fit with a majority Black, African-American, Caribbean descent, whatever you may have it, panel. And it was a couple pale skins, pasties in there, a couple white women, a couple bleach bleeders. You know, you yell at them, they start crying. A couple of those were definitely in there. All right, so without further delay, let's get into the hey. Can I get a okay? All right, I'm so inappropriate. Let's get it started. Oh, and before we get started, one last thing, guys. Vote in the poll, and that was it. Actually, vote in the poll. Vote in the poll. I got it up. There's four questions for you there. The questions are: would you interracially date? And the questions are yes, no, I have and wouldn't do it again, and I haven't, but I will try it. Let me see if that poll, if any of the votes are already in on that. See if they're popping up for me. Okay, so far there's a couple votes in there. Let's get into this.
So what y'all thought was great. Y'all scooped us up. Y'all got the greats, right? And then y'all shipped up exactly, right? And so it's genetic. Everything you got.
Okay, well, a lot of Black people are misinformed and don't want to be informed, because the whole notion, which is a psyop, that Black people weren't already in America before the colonial chattel slavery of Christopher Columbus and others. That's basically saying that Black people sucked at sailing, when during that, what was that, the 16th century or 17th century, Black people Africans were pretty on par with most continents as far as sailing is. So if you get on sailboats in the Ivory Coast or the western part of Africa, and you don't actually sail, you just coast, you'll end up in the Caribbeans in Central and South America. So there's tons of Black people already here. First of all, let's just debunk that before she gets started. But this point of the conversation, they've been going back and forth for a minute. She's triggered, and basically everyone has delivered their stance on whether or not they are pro or anti race mixing. It's funny. They got this middle skin chick next to this dark skin man, and then an even did they sit in order of complexion?
Us, white come from black. Right. If you don't know, I'm just saying, y'all just like something that God created.
This is a successful psyop that when you get a bunch of crazy people saying stuff that ain't right, no one wants to listen, because it's been factually proven that Black people have been on Earth longer than whites. So when she says that Black people are the origin and we have the most compatible DNA, funny enough, chat, Black DNA is just more dominant, and I'll get more into that why they don't. But today I went up in shoe size, and I'm a grown man. I'm still growing.
Because he has a sense of humor. So,
but that's the most hateful statement.
That is pretty prejudiced, but God says a bunch of stuff like that, biblically speaking. He does say, like, I am the original troll, the original hater, the original antagonist and protagonist, because he says he's everything, and omnipresence is being both the good and the bad.
And it's okay. It's okay if you feel that way. But when you know yourself and you know your history, we can have this conversation all day. And like I said, I agree with you. I think interracial was the worst thing that we could have ever done.
That's insane.
It messed us up.
That's not insane. I see why she thinks it, because women's prerogative and women's default setting is to process things through emotion. And that's why when girls go hang out, go to brunch, go to dinner or whatever, they're just sitting there endlessly talking and they haven't achieved anything, but they feel like they've accomplished a fuck ton, is because like that's their default. And using your emotions to solve a problem really only works in child rearing when children are in adolescence and artistic creative expression. But that's how they default solve most of the things. So when you hear something like that, it may hurt your feelings, but they think that's insane. But that means they don't know themselves or a lot of Black history, because Black people, the farther we got into integration, the more we escaped the middle class and kept going more and more into a lower class, because there was more Black people in the middle class prior to segregation than currently.
I say that all the time.
It messed us up.
The world went to shit when segregation ended.
It's okay.
I don't care what nobody got to say.
So you think it's the worst thing? You agree with her?
I agree with her.
Okay, and then you disagree.
We are all children of God. That is insane. That's an insane thing to say, that we should all be separated. Like, what was segregation?
Wow.
What was what? Come on.
Something that was brought to us. You get what
But look how strong our community was with
our innate nature isn't. Our innate nature.
We do not.
Our innate nature is war.
Chad, there's a clip of Clinton apologizing for the Tuskegee trials. I know he's been on trial for a lot of the Epstein stuff, but I'm talking specifically in, I think it was 99, before the Monica Lewinsky incident. Bill Clinton had apologized on the American behalf for America had took these Black men and told them they were giving them free healthcare and medically experimented with them, giving them syphilis, herpes, AIDS, and HIV, because Black people are genetically more resistant to viruses and diseases.
Our innate nature. Our innate nature. I'm sorry.
Let her finish her point. You made your statement that being interracial was the worst thing. She agreed. Let her make her point. Why?
Put some ones in the chat if you guys can hear me okay.
Well, we know why she didn't get.
I'm sorry.
Well, but I want her to be able to say yeah, she has her guy. But why? So you said we're all children of God, and finish your thing, and then I'll.
Well, I didn't finish mine, so I want to go next.
I mean, even in the Bible, it calls us to look at one another as brother and sisters. I don't think that the Lord would have wanted for there to be such division.
A bunch of non-virgin, non-married women talking about being biblical is humorous.
Amongst races, or to be like ridiculing, or to think higher of one race or lower of one race in metrics of
I'm gonna ask a vegetarian where to get the best steak.
Intelligence, or I know you didn't say this, but worth, or like deserving of kindness and love and so on and
okay, we got some ones in the chat. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate you.
so forth. I just can't agree with that.
I don't think that because people wanted, I mean, mind you, white people were just like mean and racist, right? That is a given fact.
No, I mean, that's, some of them, but I think the meanest and most aggressive white people just made it to the top, because white dudes in particular, I mean, their descendants at least, are the most passive and docile. And the fact that they would have to legislate that Black people and white people couldn't integrate means that there was white people and Black people willing to integrate. Like, do they make the speed limit because there's people willing to speed, or do they not make the speed limit because there aren't people willing to speed? And like, it's a bunch of people's critical race theory is based off of misnomers and lack of proper evidence and facts in history.
However, just because I believe that people should stay within their own cultures, that's not necessarily a negative thing. Look how strong the African American community was when we were separates. Look how far the Black dollar was when we were separates. Now,
I mean, and it's true. She's right. Let me let her finish now. I'll start interjecting a little bit more.
What we're doing is we're fighting against people like you and like Nick here, my buddy, because we want to sit at the table. But when we didn't have...
I think I watched this episode, they took it down because the chick next to him actually asked him to say the N-word on camera. And guys, I will say more unfiltered stuff on here. I'm pretty blunt and straightforward and not politically correct, but I'm getting my chicken bag up, so I don't want to like decensor or censor the videos too much, if you know what I mean. I'm a float in the yellow and not the red and not the green. Anyway, the chick to Nick's right asked him to say the N-word. He said it. They had to take the stream off of YouTube. But as far as what I was saying, let me get that. Let me go back because I forgot my other thought.
Black dollar was
the Black dollar. So we've had Black Wall Street and a lot of Black people complain about that. What was the other thing? I was gonna say Black crime. Like, I've actually been shot, and I've been shot by a Mexican and a Black dude. I've never had a white person even pull a gun on me, and white people outnumber Black people like 7-1 in this country. And I've had white people threaten to shoot me. usually they're just afraid and they don't know what's going on. And that, I mean, that doesn't make it okay. Fuck them. I hope they slip in their own shit. But still, I've actually been shot by black people. So it's funny and just uncanny when people ignore what's going on because they put the race first and the problem not even in the equation.
When we were separates. Now what we're doing is we're fighting against people like you and like Nick here, my buddy, because we want a seat at the table. But
no,
we didn't have to do that.
I would never be in competition with a black person.
However,
I have to tell you that whenever a black student comes to me and they want me specifically to mentor them in a education sense, like I will take them under my wing. And I do that for black and Hispanic people more than I do that for white people because
Nixon made that illegal, shorty. That's racial that is racial segregation and favoritism. You're not supposed to do that in school. That became illegal in 79. Like that became criminally punishable by law in 79.
And you showing the favor. Why?
In chat, I mentioned a lot of the presidents here, and I just learned the other day that everything Nixon said was a written and owned speech. Like there's copyrights to not Clinton, Nixon's public speakings. And as Americans, aren't we entitled to some of that compensation? Like if we had a president and that president ruled the country, they were the commander in chief, and somebody's making a check off of them publicly speaking, shouldn't all Americans get royalties off of that by default? I put up a clip of Nixon speaking for 6 minutes and 2 seconds, and it got a copyright claim on it.
Why?
Because I want to see our community strengthened, but I would never impose my viewpoints on dating saying, oh, hey, I'm going to help you with this MCAT equation. But also when you're like successful, make sure you only date within.
Kinsey said she sounds like she read a little Thomas Sowell. Yeah, a lot of women love quoting Thomas Sowell. I don't think they like claiming it because he's not as fuckable as they want him to be because he's as old as Donald Trump is.
I would never
do that.
I wouldn't do that.
Okay, that's what I was
just so we
thinking.
know because the other girls here have been kind of silent.
Yeah.
Okay, how many of you agree with race mixing? I know she does.
Oh yeah, chat. Vote in the comment section if you agree or disagree with race mixing, and you can also say it in the comments.
Well, yeah, obviously do. I was going to ask you guys. Do you guys have white parents?
Yeah, I was like, my mom is white, so there's no way I couldn't.
Mom is white, dad is black.
Yeah.
We wouldn't
Okay.
be here without.
Yeah, I was in the same. I was like, no,
No, that's fine. That's fine. So you guys agree with race mixing? You do too. Or you mix as well?
Oh yeah, yesterday, chat. I looked up the statistics. 1 in 6 black men that are married to white women, whereas 1 in 28 white women are married to black men. And it seems like with interracial relationships, they dissipate faster, and the ones that last stay together longer. Like if you see it like a black dude get a white chick pregnant, they either break up right around the baby shower, or they're just together forever and their wrinkles match. She said blue shirt to Nick's left. All right, Kenzie, thank you.
Yes, I am Haitian, but I'm also Dominican and Venezuelan.
Okay. You can make the argument
Dominicans got the most dominant nose shape in the fucking world.
that the Dominicans are African Americans, so Afro
But
Americans
Venezuelans are
or
not.
black. Excuse me. What about you? What do you think?
I'm American, but I think.
Do you believe in race mixing, like a white dude getting a black chick, or vice versa? You do? You agree with it? Okay, so you two think, hey, keep it in the.
I mean, it's just not. I mean.
And Kenzie said, I mean, I agree, but I understand why some people aren't into it. Honestly, same. If I was a white dude, I would not want women out here mixing because black people genetics are so strong. Like usually someone's genetics take over. Like one of my shorties, I've met her nieces and nephews, and her family has the most dominant genetics out of like other white people. So none of the grandkids on her sister's kids, none of them look like the dad. They all look like my shorty and her brothers and her sisters. Whereas like with black genes, like even today, everybody in my dad's family has long ass duck feet and they're pigeon toed and all this and that. And then everybody on my mom's side of the family has a wide feet. And it's like with black genetics, there's black genetics are just so dominant. It's like both of my parents' genes are still kicking in. My feet are just long as hell and wide. It's not like one side took over.
Okay, that's fine.
And if you're a guy like Nick, you were a test tube baby, I think is what it's, I forget the politically correct term. The term where, you get your babies made in the lab. You're like that. Like white dude genes are not that dominant. And I get that, like, if you only are able to analyze and observe so much biodiversity when you're looking at a person. Your narcissism and your self-love, you want to see your reflection back, especially if you spend energy, time, and money creating and nurturing this thing.
Right, that's fine. I just want to kind of get an idea. So all the girls
I'm not saying that it's a negative thing, though. I'm definitely not saying that it's a negative thing. I just have my preference, and I believe in letting people have their preference and exercise in that.
I agree with that 100%.
Right.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Okay, so it looks to me like all of you are for race mixing. Then you just only 2 of you don't practice.
And by the way, chat, you can't take women serious. Like if they say yes or no, they're so fickle. Women don't know what the fuck they want or mean. Put the nigga from 50 Shades of Grey in front of all of them. All of them gonna fold. Put Idris Elba. Put me in the same room as him. Put Tiger Woods. Put anybody. You put any of your women say one thing and then do a complete opposite. You can't take what women say at face value. And the thing about women is that they're not lying. Like women can believe a falsehood, a falseness. They could lie to themselves so well, in fact, that they could take a lie detector test and pass it knowing they're lying. That's why they're inadmissible at court. That women do that all the time. Like I said, every nation in the world has documentation of phantom pregnancy, where a woman has or hasn't had sex, thinks she's pregnant, and her body responds as if she's pregnant, and she's not. Men don't have a functional equivalent to phantom pregnancy. That's how strong the delusion is in women.
That's it.
Right. Do what you want to do. That's your business.
Do you date white guys? White guys outside of the black race?
No, you don't.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I can't say yes because that's a type thing. I feel.
What about you? Do you date outside of your race?
No. I dated white guys, though. I will say that.
Yeah, I have too, but it's just a type thing.
Of course, definitely for money.
Kenzie said, "Test tube baby." Hey, test tube baby's the shit. Yo, there's a movie called Gattaca, which is one of the best sci-fi movies ever, and it's about a world where all the people are bioengineered and gene selected. And this one guy is born right before that starts, so he has a little brother that's 2 years younger than him, and his 2-year-old brother smacks him at everything. And in the whole movie, he has to overcome being a genetically inferior human. And like in the movie, it's hyper realistic because genetically superior people have better jobs because they don't get sick. They're smarter, they're taller, they're stronger. So they're just dominating all the natural born humans in the movie. Nick was just born 50, 60 years too soon, too early. Wait, what was the joke? We missed it. I was yapping.
Ooh, that's your business.
Do you date white guys? White guys outside of the black race?
No, you don't.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I can't say yes because that's a type thing. I feel.
What about you? Do you date outside of your race?
Like that's a super racist statement. She said it's a typing. I feel basically what that means is like I only date people that grew up in safe places. Like she won't date. I mean, I wouldn't either. But she's not gonna date like some gutter rat. She's gonna date somebody that grew up with something to lose. Somebody that's kind of behaving so they get a little bit of their inheritance.
Race?
No. I dated white guys, though. I will say that.
Yeah, I have too, but it's just a type thing.
Of course, definitely for money.
Hey, you got to be for rent, not for sale.
Do you date outside of your race? I mean, black.
For those of you that didn't hear, the guy in the back, he's not on camera. He has a speech impediment, so he mumbles a lot. And she said she dated white guys, and then he said, "Yeah, for money, chat." And then they all started laughing, and I said, "Yeah, you got to be for rent, not for sale."
I have in the past, but I don't anymore.
Your preference is black? Okay.
Yeah.
So what about you? Do you date outside of your race?
Yes, I do.
You do. Okay. So realistically speaking, all of you are for race mixing, but only 2 of you date outside of your race, it seems to me. Okay. All right. Just
damn, them chairs strong as hell on that bitch.
You got the numbers here.
Yeah, well, it seems like sort of a
just so you kind of know. Yeah, just so you know. Yeah, just so you know.
Liberal attitude, like politically liberal.
No, liberal like open, more
Okay,
like
okay.
liberal minded. But to get to your point, because I think it's an important distinction. You know, you said that God would want to see us as unequal in terms of IQ or worth. But that is the distinction, because we can say that people are unequal qualitatively without saying that they're unequal before God, which is my position. Because, and we talked about this on the earlier show, when you
Let me run that back, what he just said, chat.
Minded. But to get to your point, because I think it's an important distinction, you know, you said that God would want to see us as unequal in terms of IQ or worth. But that is the distinction, because we can say that people are unequal qualitatively without saying that they're unequal before God, which is my position. Because, and we talked about.
And honestly, a women's opinion of God is so narcissistic, because if God is an omnipresent, all-powerful being, why would he even care? Like women, that's what when you go on a date with women, they ask you, what do you do? They're like, and then if you like, hey, bitch, mind your business. They're like, what? I'm just trying to get to know you. I'm like, no, if you want to get to know me, ask me how I feel about the death penalty. Ask me if I could delete one pepper from existence, which one would it be? Don't ask me just status measurement questions and think you're getting to know me. So the female point of view that God, or the feminine point of view that God would care about your IQ is redundant. Why would God care? That like, why would he? It would be a waste of an infinite breath.
About this on the earlier show. When you look at individuals, no two individuals are equal. You know, if I stand next to Myron, he's taller than me.
Yeah.
You know, and if I stand next to somebody else, we're going to be unequal. And I think groups are unequal too. I think that inequality is just a state of nature. I don't think you find equality in nature. The important thing is though, and it's like you said, we have to love each other. The equality we bring to the table is that everyone has a soul. Everybody is equal before God. And I agree with you. People should be treated with care and kindness and that sort of thing. But that being said, and this is why it's important to be specific. When I look at other people, I think it's important to treat them with dignity, respect, love, that sort of thing.
I agree.
Yeah, but women don't do that off rip. They are gonna judge you, and then they're gonna gaslight themselves into believing that they're not.
At the same time,
yeah, you guys can argue that if you want in the chat, but like I don't see women dating homeless dudes and midgets. Those two dudes never have dates.
That's totally different from saying, like,
actually, all the midgets I know that get bitches are on steroids, or they have that face where they have a normal guy face. I don't mean, damn, this is gonna get this video. They got a face like mine. If a midget got a face like mine, they getting bitches. But most midgets don't. Oh shit, am I not supposed to say midgets? If a little person has a face like mine, they're getting shorties. But I really don't see that many little people that look like me that also get smidgets.
The government is racist, or the government shouldn't be racist, or things like this. Here's what I mean. The government has to take into account that people are different.
Yeah.
You know, so for example, like when we have this mass immigration into the United States, the people that are coming here are different from the people that are here. You know, they have a different ancestry, different culture, different background. They speak a different language. So look at those people and say, well, you know, we got to treat these people exactly the same in the spirit of equality. Well, they're not equal. They're not the same.
But why
I don't
not?
know if
they
I
are.
ever
Why
necessarily
not,
made
though?
the argument of equality. I don't know if I said that because I have my own views about equality. I think that equity is much more.
They're saying why not? If they didn't, we wouldn't have borders and customs and holidays. That's not even a fair question. Like you have to stupefy yourself to actually answer the fucking question.
Efficient for society, for even relationships and families. But I think what I'm getting tripped up with, and the sticking point that I'm having with your arguments, is when you're saying,
Kinsey, are you a woman? You said we do if you're tall and smell good and aren't creepy. I'm sorry, white people give each other the most unisex names. I'm assuming you're white because you're watching this video, but you said we do. I was talking about like what is creepy? Women don't define creepy. Define creepy. First of all, define creepy, then answer the question in reverse.
like one specific race is inherently lower intelligence, that opens the door for
On average,
so
though.
many.
On average.
And
Well,
you
they're
believe
stratified.
but you believe it's like a genetic component that opens the door for so many people who maybe are not a part of that.
And I believe that that black people carry the gene more, and which is why we've been persecuted so much, because it seems like all the geniuses do exist in every race. And I know all the, you know, the groypers that are gonna watch this video are gonna think that I'm just a black elitist and trying to save the black race. But okay, just look at every quantifiable genius that's been in America and how they've been treated. And you can look at George Washington Carver, for example, and he wasn't just a peanut butter guy. But if you believe everything they told you in school, then you believe that the school wasted its effort to teach you about a guy who just manufactured peanut butter. No, he was way smarter than that. He was on Da Vinci level IQ. Why was he treated the way he was? Now, in most cases in our country, a person that is astutely intelligent gets special treatment. I think there's something esoteric, and I think and believe and know there's something esoteric about genetics, and IQ can be passed down. And the black people that did in America have superior IQs were kind of rounded up and monitored in a way.
a racial group to disrespect the racial group that you believe is genetically lower at intelligence.
It's a sensitive subject.
And I believe.
Kenzie said white women. White women what? White women are creepy. They're probably the creepiest, to be honest with you.
I really do believe in the goodness of you as a person, just the way that you carry yourself and the way that you speak. But when I'm assuming you're probably a guy that is like very polarizing and has millions of followers and viewers. There's probably at least a handful of people, or like a percentage worth of a handful of people who.
Okay, Kenzie said creepy. Someone who doesn't follow social expectations, or someone who makes women feel uneasy or unsure. Definitely not easy to define, but it's something more women feel than understand clearly. And she said, no, after that, I'm defining myself. Yeah, but we have to draw a line in the sand, because if we don't draw a line in the sand, then there's too much room for disorder and chaos. Like, we have to have a definitive line. There's no law that says don't be creepy. Like, that's not a law, because that's not enforceable, and that's subjective. It's up to delegation and opinion. Whereas, like, don't violate my personal space, don't touch me without explicit consent. That's more deliberate. That's more intentional. It's more direct. But women don't like drawing lines in the sand on anything.
Take what you are saying and use it.
And that's why it's a feeling. Feelings are fluid. I mean, sometimes never mind. That's going to be inappropriate. I'll keep it to myself.
In a very, very, very ugly way.
Yeah, you're right about that. And, I'm bombastic about it. But in truth, it's not just about putting Black people down. And I talk about that a lot, because I don't think that Black people should be put down. In fact, I think that a lot of their grievances are legitimate. The problem is, though, what you find is it gets mixed up with rhetoric, like what you said, where you said God made white people to laugh as a joke. Like, and I'm not trying to put you down for saying that, but I mean, all I'm trying to say is the same could be said really about any kind of statement. Like, we can listen to grievances, historical.
I mean, there is the saying that if you want to hear God laugh, tell him your plans. Like, I think God does have a sick sense of humor.
Or otherwise, the people.
And this isn't even me trying to be, overly fair or anything. If God made humans, it was just for his entertainment. So, I mean, some Christians would like for the love of the game, if you would. But I think all of us are kind of a joke to him, to be honest.
People have, by the same token, people could take an historical grievance and say, well, we have a right to be racist against white people because it's a bad joke that God made them. In the same way that, you could take something like I said and twist it. As far as the IQ goes, though, it's stratified.
Don't those people that run that country that just attack the other country think that about everybody that's not one of their people?
Asians have the highest, then whites, Hispanics, Blacks in terms of average. The only reason I say that is if we want to help everybody, we have to kind of meet them where they are.
Yeah.
And it's like, if that's the problem, then throwing more money at it's not going to fix it.
Exactly, and I agree with that.
Okay, so since we're on it, okay,
real quick.
I want to hear from Globe, though.
What are your thoughts on it? Because you didn't talk at all on your thoughts as well. So these two right here.
On what?
For example, he just said, on the scale, Black people are lower IQ. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I just don't agree.
What I'm trying to say is the same could be said really about any kind of statement. Like, we can listen to grievances, historical.
Sorry,
or otherwise,
chat. It had to reset.
By the same token, people could take an historical grievance and say, well, we have a right to be racist against white people because it's a bad joke that God made them. In the same way that, you could take something like I said and twist it. As far as the IQ goes, though, it's stratified. Asians have the highest, then whites, Hispanics, Blacks in terms of average. The only reason I say that
we got to do this.
If we want to help everybody, we have to kind of meet them where they are.
Yeah.
And it's like, if that's the problem, then throwing more money at it's not going to fix it.
Exactly, and I agree with that.
Okay, so since we're on it, okay,
real quick.
I want to hear from Globe, though.
What are your thoughts on it? Because you didn't talk at all on your thoughts as well. So these two right here.
On what?
For example, he just said, on the scale, Black people are lower IQ. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I just don't agree with a lot of what he's saying. He said some stuff earlier about how apparently everybody's brains are different, which I don't know how that's scientifically possible that a Black person's brain is different than a white person's. I don't know.
I think he was hypothetically speaking.
That's true. Black people actually have bigger brains. We have bigger brains. What are you talking about?
No, he was serious.
No, he's
Nick, you want to say that was a
fact.
Well, I mean that, there's this idea we talk about race and we say, skin color doesn't matter. I don't think that race is just skin color. I think that what we call it is human biodiversity, meaning there's biological diversity within the human population.
Nick's like the only other person on the internet that says biodiversity besides myself.
So, you know, white and black and Hispanic and Asian people are distinct categories of people.
Minority. Is what
Well,
you guys
people.
call it.
Because minority is, I mean, in America, whites are going to be in the minority in a decade. You know?
Not if you have anything to say about it.
Hey, we got some more people in the chat. Go ahead and vote in the poll, everybody.
You're right. You're right about that.
No, and this is for the gropers, bro. Like, look, what you got? Y'all got to take a playbook a move from the black playbook. You're gonna have to just impregnate like 5 shorties back to back because y'all can't get your chicks to listen. And by the time you get to the 5th shorty, you should have like your bitch management skills in order. And from there, you can construct. You might not get a bunch of conservative leaning children, but you gotta have like the Tiger Woods dad strategy. Have a couple kids and just take care of the ones that have the most potential. That's what honestly, that's if white dudes don't want to become the minority, that's the only option you guys have, because you're not gonna find a bunch of women that are on your accord that are equally yoked and want to do what you guys want to do. You guys are gonna have to just keep clapping their cheeks and getting a bunch of them knocked up and barefoot. And the more women you got, the more of them submit to you. That's white dudes struggle with that concept so hard, and it's the most real thing ever.
Trying to make light. This is an intense conversation. I'm trying to bring light.
Well, hold on. So
you can't do 2 things at once. Poor you.
did that answer your question? No, she wanted to know where how the brains are different based on race. That's
So
what
here's
she was
the
trying
thing
to
I'm
is
just
that
like trying to see where you got all this information, because like that just doesn't make sense.
Our innate nature is warm. Our innate, we are good people. Like,
well, ladies, you.
Oh, she's on that hippie dip. No, have you not heard of Shaka Zulu? Shorty, fratricide, which is getting killed by your brother, is one of the most common geopolitical crimes in the world, and it's most common in Africa. Fratricide has happened more in Africa than anywhere else. So you can't talk about us being good-natured because you couldn't defend the argument.
Do you know what he? Do you guys know what he specifically said? Yeah. Do you remember what he specifically said?
Yeah, he said that like black people, white people, Asians, whatever, they all got different brains. How do we have different brains?
No. Like, what he said is that, well, I mean, that's a component of it, but what the real bottom line is that he's saying that each race has different IQ level averages.
Right, but I'm pro race mixing because I want to own a liger. I'm gonna make so much money on YouTube. I'm gonna get a liger. And then I forget what the other version, because one of them's called a liger when you mix a lion with a tiger, and the other one is when you mix a tiger with a lion, and it's male versus female. I'm gonna get both of those, and then I'm gonna hyperbreed those two, and I'm gonna make my own species of big cat.
They don't have a problem. They don't have a problem.
I'm gonna be on my drug lord shit with no drugs.
With that, Myron. They don't have a problem with that. They have a problem with the fact that he thinks that black people's brains are different than a white person's brain. They understand the hierarchy, and I understand that too. I understand how
it's genetically different.
But to sit here and say, "Oh, I know a black brain is different than a white brain,"
how?
I mean, one's darker.
Because y'all experimented on us. Because y'all experimented on us.
Yeah, you can say that. Black people have definitely been socially and medically experimented on in the United States, but you have to be able to defend it. Let me hold up, chat. I'm gonna pull up the Tuskegee trial so we can actually watch a clip of that. Not the whole thing. I'm just gonna pull up our former president apologizing for it. By the way, chat, your tax dollars go to, if you're in America, your tax dollars go to reparations for these families because our government poisoned their bloodline and a lot of them died out from it. Let's see, 1080. One second, I'm gonna pull it up. I gotta change the sound setting on my end so I can hear it too. Advanced audio settings. So that man right there standing next to the president was given syphilis by the US government. They purposely gave this man syphilis and did not medicate it in order to see what would happen to him. They didn't get caught for this until like 70 years or 60 or 70 years after it happened. He's one of the only survivors left out of hundreds, if not thousands of men. Could you imagine being faithful to your spouse and then giving them syphilis or herpes or AIDS, and you can't figure out where you got it from, and they don't believe you, and then you get divorced, and then your kids leave you, and then they don't talk to you, and also your kids got it too because you didn't know you had it. It got all over your house, and you infected your entire bloodline. What would you do? At least we gotta give this man props. At least that he's accepted it. He sat there and he's like, what can you do after a certain point but accept it?
George Key is represented by...
I'm saddened today to think of those who did not survive and whose families will forever live with the knowledge that their death and suffering was preventable. Mr. President.
I hope it didn't restart for y'all. I'm just changing it a little bit.
What was done cannot be undone.
Ooh.
But we can end the silence. We can stop turning our heads away. We can look at you in the eye and finally say, on behalf of the American people, what the United States government did was shameful, and I am sorry.
Damn, Bill Clinton should have been an actor, because one, he didn't even do it. Two, I don't think he cared. And three, they publicly asked him about it when he was running for office. And I think he was uninformed, to be honest, to be fair. I don't think he actually knew. But when you're running for government, you have to discover shit like this, and then you have to become a liar because the public isn't ready for the truth. Mind you, chat, we are all still paying for this. The reparations to these families is still being dealt out. Now imagine showing some of these girls that go on Fresh and Fit, or just women that show up to podcasts when they're not educated and can't construct a debate or defend their stance, showing them this information. It will just make them radical. They won't process it with logic. They'll just be like, oh yeah, now I hate white people, which is not what I'm saying you should do. Jack, can you still hear the sound? I'm not hearing it. I'm turning the music down a little bit.
It's much deeper than the wound.
For only you, Mr. Shaw, the others who are here, the family members who are with us in Tuskegee, only you have the power to forgive.
Nigga, forgive y'all for what?
Your presence here.
Nah, Bill, this is why I think he was smoking that yak. Because you ain't no way in hell you gonna... No sound? 1 second, let me fix it. Oh, you said it's back? Yeah, it went out for me too. I think it was just the streaming service.
Shows us that you have chosen a better path than your government did so long ago.
So long ago? So long ago. Nigga, come on now. Come on, Nick. Come on now, Nick. Don't play us like we... And his job as a president is still to play us like we're stupid. Bruh, how many examples of don't trust the government do you need?
Withheld the power to forgive. Mr. Shaw, the others who are here, it is again...
Chat, I don't know why the volume keeps going down on this clip. Probably because I'm exposing the truth. Let me turn it up a little bit.
Everything our country stands for and what we must stand against is what it was. So let us resolve.
It's funny, you try to ask AI what the clip is about, and it's so deplorable. AI acts stupid. So, you know, you got these chicks in here Test. Put some ones in the chat if you can still hear me. You got these chicks in here saying how deplorable white people are in the government, and you know, if the government is 97% people from the country with the blue and white flag and other Euro descent or Scandinavian descent or Caucasus descent people, then you can make this argument, but you don't got the facts to back it up, shorty.
What I mean by that.
Yeah, let him please let him explain. Go ahead, Nick, because I don't want to. I think I know what you mean.
He said, "Go ahead, Nick." He didn't say, "Go ahead, nigga."
In your mouth. Go ahead.
So we have different skin colors. That's a genetic difference.
Okay.
And you know, black people look different than white people. Not even just their skin color. Like if a black person turned white all of a sudden, like you could still
like my lips will go away.
Like exactly. Yeah, I mean, I could distinguish that you have. I mean, you look black. Like your face looks black. My face looks
I look
white.
like royalty, baby. Let's go.
Sure. And I don't know. You know, it's so sensitive.
I don't know if this is the clip or if it's in the other one. I don't remember yet, chat. But they asked him what kind of porn he watches, and he was like, "Black girls." And he dead ass with the shit too.
Let's let him finish his point so that she can understand where he's coming with the brain thing.
So the point is like people say race is just we're all the same, but just in different colors. And I'm saying that we're different in other ways too. We're genetically
chat. We are different
in other ways. Our bone structure is different. Our faces are different. Our skin color is different. And then,
did you guys see that doctors are now completely medically announcing and holding the standard that gingers, redheads, naturally born redheads have 20% higher pain tolerance or 20% more likely to wake up during anesthesia and need heavier doses of anesthesia. Kenzie said, "I understand Nick's public take on this, but do you really think he said no to all those women?" Yeah, I think Catholic dudes stand on like their principle as virgins the most. Now, there's different types of dudes. Like some Catholic dudes I've seen will just get oral from a bunch of women, but they won't penetrate them in any other fashion. And then there's classics like this. But I think when you've made it as far as he has from abstinence, you have enough inertia and positive feedback, and you're in a positive feedback loop that's easy to extend. And then if you're a virgin and you've actually woken up to female nature and you get to see it to such a high level because women come at you more and harder the more successful you are, you're pickier. Like, I bet it's really easy to say no to a thought if you've never had a thought. And this clip is 2 years old. To answer Kenzie's questions, do you think Nick would publicly say no to all these women? Yeah, he would. But also there's a clip of him going to the club recently with like Andrew Tate, Clavicular, Sneeko, Fresh and Fit, and I believe some other guys. What's his name? Justin Waller. And I think he had never been clubbing at the celebrity status level that he's at now. And it was mind altering to him. The dopamine spike he got was changing him. I think it had to be something like that. Like, these women are doing a masculine thing too. So if you're a straight dude, podcasting is a masculine trait inherently. So all these women are in their masculine. So it's even easier to reject them. And they're being cantankerous. On top of that, Nick is used to debates and none of them can debate. None of them can articulate themselves. So he's probably slid super far into his sapiosexuality, which is a mental attraction to others and attraction to people's intellect. And they're just kind of proving his point. Yeah, black people have a struggle with critical thinking, especially black women, and et cetera, et cetera. I think they're all being easy to resist because all of them are pretty easy for me to resist right now as well.
And the point is to say, when we talk about IQ, people say, well, how could black people or white people or Asian people have a different average IQ? Well, their brains are probably genetically different, just like their skin color, just like their bones, just like other things. And so it's to say it would be ridiculous to suggest that every person in the world would have the same average IQ. Why would that make sense?
Okay. Right.
We're not talking about IQ. We're talking about
this is all his
brain.
This is his opinion though. Because the key word was probably.
Yeah.
There was no factual in that.
How are bones
Did that answer the question or no?
No, because he's like
our bones are
around the
different.
question.
How?
He's
really
saying
not.
IQ.
When
I'm
you
not
see a
talking about
skeleton,
IQ.
it's
I'm
just
talking about the physical brain that we all have and we're born with.
He did mention that we're all differently made. So for
I
example, he's
understand
just
that,
saying
but
that.
like that doesn't mean our brains are different. Like IQ wise, that's like shit you learn throughout life. Like, you know what I mean?
Not necessarily.
So you're just like born with a low IQ? Is that what you're saying?
Where
No.
He told you the answer, but I guess you're not like taking it for what it is.
Okay.
But real quick, thoughts on this real quick. You didn't say anything either.
I'm smart, so.
What? Hold on. So you get it, right?
IQ good.
My IQ good.
Let me distill what he was saying.
Okay.
I think what he said is very simple. He said, based on race, people have different features, different looks.
Look at that annoying ass comment on the stream. F and F, y'all need to understand that Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, life, the truth. Islam is coping mechanism to help outweigh good and bad works. God cannot be bribed to good works. Grace is a free gift from God. Ask Nick about this. Yeah, whenever I get comments like this, I copy and paste it and filter it to where it can never be shown on my chat. Because, yeah, I like the positivity, but people like this are just mindless and they themselves can't critically think. They just default to something easy. Oh, let me just say whatever the Christian narrative is instead of constructing my own thoughts.
Different skin
Use your fucking free will, dog.
tones, hell, even different muscle fibers. African Americans, we know, have more fast twitch muscle fibers, which is why it's easier for them to build muscle mass than other races, etc. Right? Height levels, whatever. So what he's saying is that on the physiology side,
white guys are actually taller on every national average ever recorded. That's a fact. Internationally, if you look at the entire world so Scandinavia is what really leads this. If you take all white dudes and average their height and all black dudes and average their height, white dudes are a little bit higher.
we're all different. Yeah. And a lot of the times races have a lot of similarities. Then he went on to say, well, we also have different IQs. Since we have different IQs, it would make sense, and the logical conclusion would be our brains are different as well.
Right.
Because if we're different,
and there's a guy in Greenland and Scandinavia, all the Scandinavian nations, who's like the #1 visited guy from the sperm banks out there. And so I think he has a couple hundred children, if I'm not mistaken. I might do a stream covering him.
Okay, I
physically,
understand
right? And a component of your brain is obviously your IQ.
Yeah.
Then we probably have different brains as well, because on average, right, the races have different IQs. We know Asians are at the top, whites are in the middle, and then blacks are on the lower end typically. But he's saying if our IQs are lower, that by definition means that our brains are different as well. So that's, I think, the logical conclusion he came to.
Right,
And
but
to
again,
Nick's
that's just
point-
not factual. He said it with so much conviction, and that's the problem with people like him. They say things that are opinionated, that isn't necessarily factual, and say it with so much conviction that logically it follows, but there's no science that backs that up.
People like me.
Yeah.
Oh.
What is that
With
supposed to
opinions
mean?
like you.
White people?
Asians are trained differently. They're trained to.
Asians are trained differently.
Okay, Nick, did you have anything to respond? Did that make sense when I distilled that?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
that's exactly
All
right.
right.
And
So,
true.
you
Yeah.
understand
I
what
think
I'm
that
saying now?
makes sense. Like, that you broke
If the
it down like
physiology
that.
is the same,
No,
that
but
means, and IQs are different, that means, well, the brains are probably different too. That's what he's trying to say.
Yeah.
And guys, let videos like this be proof that picking up women on the street is relatively easy, and talking to a group of women is, because here you have 3 men whose opinions are pretty close debating 6 women's whose opinions are also pretty close, and it's not even challenging.
I agree with what
you
to
just
Nick's
said
point,
just
he
now.
did also say that before God, we are equal.
Yes.
Yeah.
And which that is fact.
Okay, go ahead.
So I think it's very important for people to understand, especially, and I'm not saying this in a classist way. I understand education is privilege, but if you don't have the education of knowing how.
Chat, a storm is rolling in and my signal keeps dropping. So if I randomly get off of here, it's the storm knocking my signal out.
To interpret research correctly, you're going to be very hindered with the way that you think about life. We have to understand that correlation does not always equal causation. So it's humans like to think very linearly.
I think someone either just hit a pole outside or a tree just fell, chat. I might just end it here. 1 second. Yeah, chat, we're getting some terrible weather. We're getting some awful weather coming in. I'm gonna go ahead and end this stream here. This has been a pleasure. I appreciate each and every one of you comments and coming through. I've had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. I like you guys interacting with me, voting on the poll. Without further delay, I want everyone to have some good night, sweet dreams. Au revoir, farewell. I'll see you again tomorrow. I'm going to be streaming again tomorrow at, I say, about 8 or 9 p.m. 7 at the earliest, somewhere between 7 and 9 Black people time. Anyway, hasta luego. Until then. Oh yeah, I love you guys. That's I love you in sign language. It's also on my hand. I'm gonna start doing that. Peace.